Well, it's that time again to call out Spectrum News Channel 1, and obviously, this is primary day, and I know everything's being overshadowed by that, and I do hope that you did get to vote today or whenever I post this out. The polls are still open till 9 o'clock tonight, but we do have to talk about the stories that Channel 1 forgot to mention, and I'm also going to talk about an car accident and I almost eyewitnessed in Glen Oaks earlier this afternoon before 2 o'clock. So let's check Channel 1's website and see if the big top story today was mentioned on the website. And there's a big story that came out in Queens today. What is the big story, you may be wondering? Well, remember the duck sauce killer? Well, apparently, he was let out of prison on bail. This guy should have never gotten bail in the first place, and that's how messed up our judicial system is right now in New York. So look at this. $500,000 bail. Really? This guy should be sentenced to life in prison for what he did. He thought he was in the purge and he could just get revenge just like that. But no. This is not the purge. Crime is not legal for 12 hours. No. It's not the movie. Alright? I know what the movie has taught us. The whole film series. So, what we are going to do is we're actually going to do our own little version of In the Papers today. I'm not going to completely read the Daily News because that'll just be a waste of time considering that we do have to talk about another car accident that happened in Ozone Park yesterday. But over the weekend, and especially yesterday, my goodness, what's going on with the LIE by Utopia Parkway? Because the Citizen app has been sending me notifications all weekend that there have been literal NASCAR-style multi-car pileups. And I'm like, really? So let's read the Daily News front page. And let's see if Pat Kiernan talks about it. And then what I want to do is show a quick video of my Congresswoman Grace Ming discussing what happened. So, this was on the front page of the Daily News as I was checking my PDFs today. And as soon as I saw this morning, right before I left to go to work, this got me so upset this morning. Scroll down here. Let me show you. This got me so upset this morning. This was not how I intended to start my day. To know that this man who killed Simon Yang back in April, okay? This guy, this murderer, Glenn Hersh, who should be in a federal penitentiary for what he did, not Rikers, a federal penitentiary. How in the world do you get let out on $500,000 bail? Truly, I am just so disgusted by this. So we're going to read the Daily News article, and then we're going to take a look to see if Pat Kiernan talked about it today. Because I swear to God, if Pat Kiernan didn't talk about this today, it just shows again how corrupt Spectrum is. And I don't want to yell. Because I've lost my patience today with Queens Village Bus Depot a little bit. It really wasn't their fault that my vehicles were stuck behind other cars that didn't want to inch up today, but okay, so here we go. So apparently the wife got arrested, so we'll read that in just a second. So what I want to do is zoom in and we'll read this article because I think it's very important that we read this So you know what's going on here. Here we go. Let's move this up a little bit to make it look more professional. That's more like it. Here we go. A judge in Queens granted $500,000 bail yesterday for accused duck sauce killer Glenn Hersh from Briarwood, as he awaits trial on charges that he fatally shot a Chinese food delivery man over a bizarre months-long beef over insignificant condiment packets. Okay, that again, when I read that, I'm thinking, really? That has to be the dumbest thing you could do. Alright, I'm sorry. You know, that's why I always ask McDonald's for enough ketchup. They always do that for me in Bayside. Okay, here we go. You wouldn't see me get lashed out like that. No. Mr. Hersh, 51, had faced a long stint awaiting trial at Rikers Island until he posted the bail. Queens Criminal Court Judge Kenneth Holder granted Hersh's release into home confinement following a hearing. Hersh's brother posted the bail with a certified check, but the $500,000 came from Mr. Hersh himself, his lawyer Michael Horn said. Holder ordered that the sheriff's department fit Hersh with an electronic bracelet. He has to stay in his home 24 hours a day except for visits to his lawyer, doctor, court, and Kew Gardens, and 1 hour per day of exercise. So, as I said, this guy should not be let out. I'm sorry. Even with an electronic bracelet? Really? So look at this. This dates back to November. I mean, you really cannot make this stuff up. So as we know what happened back on April 30th, 45-year-old delivery worker Simon Yang was killed. Mr. Hersh was arrested back on Thursday, June 2nd, and pled not guilty. Detectives said that Hersh had been stalking Yang and other staff at the restaurant on Queens Boulevard for weeks before the shooting. Prosecutors described his demand for duck sauce as an obsessive point of contention. Hersh allegedly drove around the block where the restaurant is located several times on the night of the murder. When Yang left the restaurant to make a delivery, Mr. Hersh allegedly followed him and then shot him in the street. In a bizarre twist, police searching Hersh's 141st Street apartment in Briarwood found that his refrigerator was full of duck sauce and other condiment packets. Oh, are you kidding me? This guy's a hoarder. Look at that. They literally quote that in the Daily News. This is the New York Daily News from today. Mind you. Judge Holder ordered Hersh to stay away from the Great Wall and the Eateries delivery zone and the entire area encompassing the crime zone. Glenn Hersh is barred from leaving the city and going within miles of airports, major transit hubs like Grand Central Terminal, Penn Station, or any PATH train. He cannot buy any guns. So basically, if they find out he leaves the 5 boroughs and let's say he goes into the Hudson Valley or Long Island, well, guess what? He's busted. So this guy can basically go in the 5 boroughs. Really? Really? You really cannot make this stuff up. You really can't. Okay, so, let's see. Look at that. I mean, they didn't even mention the car that was here. Okay, so here's karma right here. This is what I wanted to read. Let's go up to this part. Let's read this one. This is crazy. Look at this. Dorothy Hersh was charged with gun possession. Oh boy, look at this. 8 guns hidden around the home with more than 200 rounds of ammunition. I mean, you really cannot make this stuff up. So this guy right here had a wife who lived separately away. And how in the world is she allowed to have guns? You really cannot make this stuff up. Look at this. 9mm semi-automatic loaded, 9 rounds, 38 caliber revolver, 45 caliber revolver, .38 caliber revolver, 357 caliber revolver, 9mm pistol, and a 29 caliber pistol. Look at this. You really cannot make this stuff up. And then look at this. She's a registered nurse. And then apparently they're now accusing the husband of keeping the guns. I don't know who to believe at this point. I really don't. And it's just, this story really has some strange twists and turns. So, what we're going to do right now, and let's see if Mr. Pat Kiernan talked about it today in the paper segment. So apparently, Pat Kiernan must be on vacation. Because this is not Pat Kiernan. Alright, so let's see if they bought it up.
Here's a look at the Tuesday papers, starting with the Daily News. And the latest on the man they've labeled the duck sauce killer.
Good. So I'm glad they bought it up. So, thankfully I summarized it. Because obviously you would have not been able to read the article. But that's a very good job by Channel 1. I'll give them credit on that. But obviously, you know they're not going to talk about the accident that happened, in Ozone Park yesterday. Oh, and look at this. They're talking about this. Oh, hang on here. They're actually talking about the subway surfing. So let's watch this.
From January to May of this year, MTA statistics show nearly 450 incidents of subway surfing, a 560% rise compared to the same time last year. The image here comes from a Twitter video showing subway surfers riding a J train across the Williamsburg Bridge. MTA officials say these kinds of attempts at making viral videos
So apparently that must have been the video I saw on Instagram last week.
Are partly to blame for the uptick. Wedding dresses are expensive, so why not use one that's already in the family?
Okay, so now they're going to lifestyle news. I don't even want to get into that. So now what we're going to do next is we're going to watch a brief statement from my Congresswoman Grace Ming, and she makes a lot of sense on this. Okay, so now we're going to react to my Congresswoman Grace Ming making comments about what happened yesterday. So we're going to play the brief clip right now.
That's what concerned lawmakers, including Congresswoman Grace Meng, were hoping for.
There are concerns that he may pose a danger either to the employees of that restaurant or the family or just to everyday Queens neighbors.
Exactly. She makes a very good point. I'm very glad that Grace Ming is speaking up. And especially because, remember, my congressional district is a large demographic Asian. Alright? So, I don't know why they couldn't upgrade the charges to a hate crime. That's what I'm trying to figure out here. Glenn Hersh should have been... The charges should have been a hate crime. Because the guy was Asian. How the hell do you not charge him with a hate crime? If I was Queens County District Attorney, I would have been pursuing those charges back in April. I'm telling you folks, the laws in New York are so backwards. And as I said, I am so glad that we have Grace Ming in this district. Because even though, again, I know she's colluded with the Riders Alliance before, and I get all that. But outside of that, at least she cares about our community. Especially because the past 2 years, have been very brutal for the Asian community. You all know my views to this day that I've said that China should have gotten economic sanctions after what they did and were not being transparent with us. But I've said time and time again, it doesn't give you the right to criticize someone based on their race, based on where they come from. Because President Lyndon Baines Johnson in 1965 signed the Civil Rights Act. That doesn't give you the right to do that. It doesn't. No. So I'm done talking about this. And I just want to see the Queen's Courier article. And they mentioned anything about his next court date? Because we're going to get into that. Let's see if they... There we go. Let's see. So... I know Sandra Ung, the city councilwoman, did respond to this, so... I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for the next court date to wrap this up. Right, and we know Grace Ming did issue a statement. Okay, this is very interesting. Apparently, the Queens District Attorney Melinda Katz does want him to remain in prison. Okay, so that is an interesting development right there. Let's just see where they mention that in this article. Okay, good. So we do have a statement from Queens District Attorney Melinda Katz. So this is what she said. Bail is not and never was meant to be punitive. Rather, its purpose is to ensure the accused returns to court to answer the charges. The law gives the judge the discretion to set bail in the amount the judge believes is reasonably calculated to accomplish this purpose. In this case, although we asked the court to remand the defendant without bail, the court set bail as a very substantial amount while agreeing to impose conditions, including house arrest and electronic monitoring. So, again, this guy should have literally been in prison. And look at this. He has to await trial. I'm telling you, the court system works so slow. It's crazy. Alright, so let's get to the other news, because I gotta save my patience tonight for primary, because tonight's gonna be a very interesting night. So, I want to get to the robberies in Queens, and I want to get to that dog getting robbed, and then we'll wrap this up today, because I'm literally losing my patience today. Alright, I literally lost my patience today. So let's read these 3 articles from the Courier, and then I'm going to wrap this up, because as I said, I've literally lost my patience today. So here we go. 4-car pileup on the Belt Parkway yesterday. So here we go. This happened early yesterday morning at 1:30 in the morning on June 27th. According to the Highway District Collision Squad, the drivers of a 2013 BMW 328 and a 2018 Honda Accord were allegedly drag racing westbound in the left lane of the Belt Parkway when the Honda clipped the rear of the BMW. The Honda veered to the right, coming to a rest on the right shoulder, and then erupted into flames, according to the NYPD 106 precinct. The BMW came to a stop in the left travel lane and was plowed into a 2017 Infiniti Q50, which also struck the rear of a 2007 Subaru Forester that was traveling westbound in the middle of the lane. The driver of the Infiniti fled the scene on foot and is being sought by the NYPD. All of the other drivers and passengers remain on the scene and were removed to area hospitals for treatment. So, it says here, the driver of the Honda was taken to, 28-year-old woman, was rushed to Brookdale Hospital in stable condition. The 28-year-old passenger was transported by EMS to Jamaica Hospital in stable condition. The driver of the BMW, a 24-year-old man, and a 25-year-old man riding in the BMW were taken to Jamaica Hospital with severe head trauma, and they were listed in critical condition. The driver of the Subaru, a 55-year-old man, was taken to Brookdale Hospital, where he's in stable condition. All westbound lanes of the Belt Parkway near JFK Airport were closed for hours, while the wreckage of the 4 vehicles were cleared up. So, I do have a picture from 1010 Wins reporter Eileen LaPalmer, right? Right here she is. So this is how bad the accident was. I'll show you, because I got a picture from her right here. Oh yeah, definitely this was a very bad accident. I mean, it looked like the BMW ended up in the right lane. There's the Subaru. There's the other 2 cars, so it looks pretty bad. No question about it. And of course, you know, as soon as word got out, people wanted to actually go on the Belt Parkway and see how bad the accident was, and I can't blame them for that, but look at this. This was literally the exit for Conduit Avenue, which takes you right to Cross Bay Boulevard North. So believe me, I know this area very well. How do you think I see my parents' friends in Mill Basin? Well, of course pre-pandemic, but you get the idea. So believe it or not, I actually heard about this one today while listening to Curtis Lewa while I was at work. So here we go. A dog was snatched in Ozone Park. So it says here that this happened on Saturday afternoon, June. Let me make sure I got the date right because I have it on my phone. June 25th. Okay. 75-year-old man had his dog stolen in Richmond Hill. Oh, okay, this was in Ozone Park, okay. Carlos Gill was walking his pooch along 88th Avenue just after 2:30 p.m. when a man on a scooter approached. The suspect began petting the dog, who was named Off-White, and proceeded to pick up the dog. Oh, so this must be a bull mastiff. Can't tell. Oh boy. Look at this. The dog was stolen after going in a car. Oh boy. That is so sad. Man on a scooter took the dog. I mean, you really cannot make this stuff up. So we do have a video of the incident. Oh boy. Ooh. Look at that. The elderly man was almost run over. Ah, boy. Well, I do hope they find the dog, because wherever this dog is, that's not good, because we're expecting a heat wave this weekend beginning on Friday. 3 straight days of 90-degree temperatures coming up. Okay, and then we're going to read the last one, and then I want to talk to you about a story that I have to tell in Glen Oaks today. So here we go. Look at this. Gas station robberies being reported in Queens. So let's read this. Okay, so this happened last Wednesday. At around 4 p.m. at the Shell gas station at 71-08 Northern Boulevard, 2 men entered and one pulled out a knife as the other said, "Step back or he'll kill you." The 2 men forcibly removed the cash register containing $900 before jumping in the purple Honda Odyssey. About 25 minutes later, the suspects crossed into the 114th precinct when they entered the mobile station at 44-02 Astoria Boulevard. One of them pulled the knife and said, "Hands up." They then forcibly removed the cash register holding $5,000 in cash and $500 worth of store merchandise before taking off in a motor vehicle in an unknown direction. The 2 suspects then pulled off 2 heists on June 17th. Okay. I don't know. This is terrible, this organization. But anyhow, look at this. the same suspects who were accused of robberies in Northwest Queens, apparently, these are the same guys who robbed the 7-Eleven in Fresh Meadows. Oh, it's happening in broad daylight. You really cannot make this stuff up. I am so glad I went to the 7-Eleven at Glen Oaks. Even though it was hot in there, but $700 was taken. Over an hour later, all 4 suspects entered a Shell gas station at 90-05 Myrtle Avenue and gave me the money. Handgun was under a sweatshirt. $5,000 in cash was taken. Motorcycles. And then look at this. A bodega was robbed in Flushing. 84-77 Parsons Boulevard. Swear! They better not be going to Lifetime Deli, because if they do, they are making a big mistake if they go to Bayside, because 111 Precinct's right across the street. Look at this. Another bodega in Briarwood. I mean, you really cannot make this stuff up. I don't even want to give a suspect description. That's how distraught I am today. So, let's get into a story that I want to tell today. And what is the story that I want to talk about today? Well, I almost witnessed a car accident today in Glen Oaks. This happened right before 2 p.m. So I'll give a little bit of a description of what happened. And I'm just going to say this. Thank goodness St. Agnes Catholic School is done for the school year. Because if kids were walking by, this would have been a lot worse. So here's what happened. A Toyota convertible was trying to make the left onto 255th Street. Out of nowhere, a Chevy Equinox coming from, I think it was this way, yeah. Must have jumped off this way, literally came the wrong way. I think he must have come from here. This left turn lane right here. Right in front of Walgreens. The Equinox almost smacked right into the Toyota convertible, which was old school Toyota convertible from the 90s, but that was what happened. So I'm done here. I have to focus on the primary tonight. And I again have lost my patience. Especially because after that ordeal today, I almost missed the Q88 because vehicles don't want to, the problem is a lot of these drivers don't want to inch up. It happened to me on the 46, and it happened to me on the 88 today. So again, people don't understand the common rules of the road. That's all I'm going to say on that. But I'm done here. Thank you for watching. And the truth's going to be told here. Because we will not stay silent. And I'm not going anywhere.